I'd like to call the regular meeting of November 10th, 2016 of the Cumberland Fire District Fire Committee to order. Can we rise for a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any general announcements? Next item is consent agenda. Approve of the minutes from 9/27. Pleasure of the board. Motion to accept by Commissioner Champagne. Seconded by Commissioner Parent. Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain. I was not at that meeting.
Yeah, I'm abstaining.
Okay. So we have 5-0 to 2. Next item is transcripts of the meeting videos. Within the pack, there is a little instruction sheet on how you can get transcripts for the meetings off of YouTube. It's pretty easy to do. I stumbled upon it, and it's not exactly the transcripts, but what it does is it picks out phrases and lists at what time in the video, and you can click on that particular phrase, and it takes you right to that particular point in the video. It's a lot quicker than, if you got an hour-long meeting, it's a lot quicker than trying to, rush around and see where it is. Next item is finance reports for the one ending September 31st. This was passed out a couple of weeks ago. Finance Director, did you get any questions in?
I did not.
Thank you. Any pleasure of the board? Motion by Commissioner Champagne to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ouellette. Any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Passes 6-1.
Phil opposes.
Yep. Review of first payment to PPA for audits. If you look at the resolution, there was a couple of concerns that we're going to address tonight real quick. Just to clarify once and for all for the record that there was $55,000 missing out of the 2015-2016 budget, and there isn't any money missing out of that budget. On July 14th of 2015, we had a unanimous approval of the resolution to hire Parmalee, Poirier and Associates, and in that resolution there was a payment schedule, very clear, and it says the total cost of the first year would be charged equally to each of the 4 former fire districts in their 2014-15 budget year. So that $55,000 wasn't misplaced out of the 15-16 budget because it was paid for out of the 14-15 budget because it was the 4 districts who had the audits done. So that's for the record. The next item is taking the truck payment for the refinanced fire truck out of the truck fund versus out of the budget. And if you will look, there are emails included from the CPA that did the audits from Parmalee, Poirier and Associates, Joanne Newton, and she agrees and or directed us to take that directly out of the truck fund, and as it's a capital expense, and rather than taking out of the expense of the budget. So both those items are floating around, and just for the record, to get the facts straight, the payment of $55,000 wasn't missing out of this budget because it was paid for out of the budget before on a unanimous approval, so we all approved that. And then the email showing that the truck payment shouldn't come out of expenses but out of the truck fund directly. Next item.
If I could, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Thank you very much. I heard your comments in regards to that, yet at the same time, in regards to the truck payments, we had it allocated in our budget, yet at no time did we expense it out in the expense column. So it was put in the budget for the monthly payments, We allocated, we had the money in the budget.
Right.
Thank you.
Sure, we had it in the budget, but the accountant told us not to take it out of the expense, out of the budget, but to take it directly out of the truck fund upon a CPA's recommendation. So when she does the audit that she's working on now, there'll be a section in the audit showing the truck fund and showing the depletion of funds to pay that truck off. It wasn't anybody's decision within the department, the district, it was the CPA's decision.
I appreciate those comments.
Thank you.
I still
Okay,
have
we
a
got it.
defensive opinion. Thank you very much.
Sure. So the next item is Resolution 46 to repair Engine 5. You've got all the details. Pleasure of the board. Motion by Commissioner Champagne to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Ouellette. Any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Passes 7-0. Next item is Resolution 47. This is a refundable grant approval. It is basically a grant that Cumberland Fire District was awarded. Chief, was that written by Kerry Smith?
She had the final, yes, it was written by her.
Okay.
She assembled all of the parts
Okay.
to it to make it make sense.
Which allowed us to get a grant from the Rhode Island EMA in the amount of the amount is $74,258 in that area for the purchase of communications equipment. So we have to, it's a refundable grant, which means we have to actually pay the expenditure, and then we apply to the Rhode Island EMA, and we get reimbursed for it completely. So you see the bill, and Chief, to be honest with you, when I wrote the resolution, I didn't know if the grant was for $74,258 exactly, or if it was for $80 or $79 or whatever. So I just made the resolution not to exceed $80,000 in case you need to spend any more to cover the grant.
And it's very possible we might have to throw a little bit of money in for either antennas or installation that,
Okay.
Because of the time that the grant was written till the time that the equipment is purchased, there's been some price increases
Okay.
that we've had to absorb.
Very good. Motion by Commissioner Champagne to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioners Ouellette and Mata. Just as a note, Diane, you're going to have to ask the CPA on how you want to handle this, because there isn't a fund for it to come out of. She might want you guys to create one, and that way it doesn't come out of the expenses side, or she might want it to come out of the expenses side. If that's the case, you have to drop the grant money back into the budget, do a budget adjustment, so that way that particular line item isn't overspent by $74,000.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Ms. Cuccione.
Just as a point of clarification, I know the grant was, this is resolution to approve the grant. Is there a strong feeling that it will be granted upon application?
It's already granted.
It's already been granted?
That's what I said, right? Yep.
Thank you.
It's all granted.
I have approval from EMA in writing, so it's just a matter that we have to expend it and they reimburse.
Any other comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Next item. Is resolution authorizing abatement request from the tax collector. We've given you the two backup sheets for this, one showing the abatement amount and then the new receivables. They're not going to always go, dime for dime, but it's best that we keep these on the record. Pleasure of the board. Motion approved by Commissioner Champagne. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Ouellette. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Next item is Resolution 48 for Chief Finley's contract revision approval to align with current track durations of CPD and Cumberland Rescue. Resolution 48 is to authorize Chairman Lamoy to enter into employment contract with Chief Kenneth Finley. The current contract ends in 2018. It is, whereas the common practice of the town is to have employment contracts with key employees, such as Chief of Police and the Rescue Director, end on the odd year otherwise known as midterm. Whereas the proposed contract will not increase the cost of this position, but allow for the ending midterm. Whereas it's important for the morale and the proper operation of the Cumberland Fire District to have strong and consistent leadership in the chief of the department. Therefore, be it resolved that Chairman Lamoy has the authority to execute subject to contract. Pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Scullin spoke first. Commissioner Scullin?
Motion to table.
There's a motion to table by Commissioner Scullin. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Kutsiani. If you vote yes, you're voting to table. If you vote no, you're voting to have it go forward. Commissioner Kutsiani, there's no discussion on the table motions. All those in favor of tabling the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed to tabling say nay.
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 Nay. Passes 4-3. Fails 4-3, sorry. The motion to table fails 4-3. On the resolution, Commissioner Champagne had moved to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Parent. Comments from the board.
Mr. Chairman. if I
Commissioner
could.
Kutsiani.
You know, I think that this is a contract, especially with the length of the contract and the other terms and conditions, the severance package and all the, to get this document literally 8 hours before tonight's meeting is difficult. This is also an important decision to make, and I think that the new board with 4 new members should have the opportunity to review it. The chief already has a contract that's going to run for a considerable period of time. To allow this extension, and for the reasons I've just stated, I really think that the new board should consider this particular contract at the appropriate time. That severance package, if the chief, for some reason, this fire department is taken over by the town, the severance package allows him, for the balance of the contract, to receive his full pay. It's minimum of 12 weeks. It could be 52 weeks. It could be a year and a half. As I said, in light of his existing contract, I really think this should not be heard tonight whatsoever.
Thank you, Ms. Kutsiani. Commissioner Ouellette.
Thank you. Phil, we have a kind of agree here a little bit.
Thank you.
Can we make a record of that, please, that someone's actually agreeing with Phil? Not in fully, not for the reasons why. I actually, and this has nothing to do with the chief at all. I think that this is something that the new board should really take up, and I would be happy to champion that effective in 2 weeks. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Scullin?
Yes, I'm just reiterate, this issue does not belong before this board, as this is the last meeting and the majority of this board is leaving. The new board should take up all personnel matters when they take office.
Thank you. Just to, the final point before we go to vote, this contract is not changed in any way but the extension of the date. Everything else is the same. The severance practice is the same. Everything is the same. It's been, he's had it since the beginning, so the only thing that's changed is the date.
Mr. Chairman, if I could,
Sure.
just as a clarification, just want to bring to the board's attention, I am specifically asking that pursuant to General Law 42-46-7, that any comments I make tonight be put on the record in full as is required under the section I've just stated.
Mr. Chairman, I would like Mr. Kutsiani to elaborate the statute that he's referring to. Just to throw a statute number out there, not knowing what he's talking about, is not fair to this board.
Be happy to. May I, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
This is a resolution that was passed by this particular board, I think 2 meetings ago, indicating that this board is to operate under the Open Meetings Act. And under 42-46-7, it talks about minutes. And it indicates, I'm now quoting, all public bodies shall keep written minutes of all meetings. The minutes shall include, but not be limited to. And I'm making reference to any other information relevant to the business of the public body that any member of the public body requests be included or reflected in the minutes. I'm calling that section into play. My comments.
Thank you.
Okay, he's just referring to his minutes, the minutes.
Yeah.
He's not referring to a contractual
No,
or anything. Okay.
just his minutes.
I just want to clarify it. It's his opinion about the
Any other comments on the resolution?
I want to comment on what Phil said.
Sure, go ahead.
The intent of our ruling and our acceptance of this was to alleviate word-for-word quoting because we have it on tape. So is what you're telling us right now, Commissioner, that you want us to quote you specifically word for word as opposed to, in general, Commissioner Cucciani is not in agreement of this resolution because he feels it should be taken up by the new board?
It's only in light of past experience that I have to indicate that that's exactly what I'm saying. I would not say it, but under the circumstances that is transverse with this particular body for the last 18 months.
So what I just said is not acceptable?
No, my comments have to be included word for word in the minutes. Thank you.
That's not what we agreed on. We did not agree on that. We agreed that the word-for-word minutes would be on videotape and that the minutes would meet the standards that the General Assembly alludes to. And we did not say we are quoting word-for-word everything that someone is saying.
Mr. Chairman, I think we're getting off track here.
Yes, we are. I'm sorry.
We're getting off track. We're talking about minutes, and we're talking about a CBA that's legal and binding, and that this board has authority to act on.
Okay, no, it's fine. He can have his word for word. It's fine. Any other comments on the resolution? Any other comments on the resolution? If not, all those in favor of the resolution say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
That'd be 4-3, it passes. Next item, Resolution 49. It authorizes Chairman Lamoy to execute an employment contract with Finance Director Carol Kalshin under the same conditions, not the same condition of the contract, but for the same whereases and reasons as the last resolution. Pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Scullin.
motion to table.
Mr. Scullin motions to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Cucciani. Again, if you vote yes, you want to table it. If you vote no, we want to continue. All those in favor of the motion say yes.
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 All those opposed? No. It fails 4-3. Pleasure of the board on the resolution.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Champagne, seconded by Commissioner Motta. Is there any other comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Ouellette had indicated first.
Just the same reasoning behind the last one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Cucciani.
I raised the same discussion I raised last time.
Thank you very much.
This is a new contract. The finance director, I think the new board should be the authority that looks at it and makes that decision as opposed to this board at this point in time. The contract is a 3-year contract. It has multiple issues in it. I draw your attention again to the severance portion, the same paragraph that appears in the chief's contract. That is, if this board is to merge with the town of Cumberland or being taken over with the town of Cumberland, and she is not offered a position, her severance package will be equal to the remaining portion of this 3-year contract. If you're talking a year and a half, that is roughly $90,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cucciani. Mr. Scullin?
Again, this is doing a disservice to the taxpayers and residents of this town. This is not rightfully before this board. You all know it. There's 4 new members coming in. There's no reason this has to be passed tonight. And quite frankly, if it's passed 4-3, I'm going to challenge that vote because I do not feel Commissioner Parent has a legal right to vote on any issues as he has missed too many meetings.
Mr. Scullin, you're way out of order. That's a subject that's not even on the agenda. If there was an issue with the legislation that's on record that gives us the authority to operate, that would have been taken up. It isn't. So, any other comments on the resolution?
Well, Mr. Scullin has raised the issue.
Okay, the issue is not on the agenda. You can challenge it after the vote, which is your right. Any other comments on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor of the resolution say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
It passes 4-3. Next item is Chairman's Report. I'd like to, as this is going to wrap up the meeting, I'd like to open up the, if any committee member would have a comment. Mrs. Scullin, would you have any comments at this time?
No.
Mr. Cucciani?
I'm not quite sure what comments you made, but I would suggest to this board that we set a meeting tonight for the very next meeting to have the new members of the board become part and become the board. This election is going to be certified, I would think, maybe tomorrow. I'm suggesting to the board no later than November 22, if not earlier, that we have a special meeting to have the new members of the Cumberland Fire Committee have come in and be sworn in and take over the operation. Arguably, they take over as soon as it is certified.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm going to just comment on that and close it down. I'm going to have Kelly Morris, the solicitor, contact the other members, get together with schedules, make sure everybody's available, and she'll take it from there. Mr. Champagne?
No, I was just going to clarify, make a correction, is that it's not the swearing in of new members, it's the swearing in of all members.
All members, true.
Not just new members.
It's all members.
And I understand. It is all members.
Right. I'll have Solicitor Morris take care of that. Any other comments, Mr. Cucciani?
So we're not going to set a date tonight?
We don't know the other people's schedules. It's not on the agenda. I'll have Solicitor take care of it. She's a neutral party. Any other comments, Ms. Cucciani?
Well, you chose November 10th. You didn't consult with us. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment.
Is it about? Okay, yes.
What?
I'm sorry. You're right.
I would just like to acknowledge the work that this board has done in the 2 years that everyone has been a member, and what a tremendous job we all did in merging these fire districts, getting the fire department their contracts, paying bills, reducing the tax. The list goes on, and it was an absolute tribute to every single person on this board. And it has been an absolute honor serving with all of you. And I'm saddened to have you, some of you, not coming back in a few weeks. So I'd like to publicly express my sincere thanks. Bruce, Chris, Frank, and Phil. This has been an absolute learning curve for me also, because never having held a public office, I had no idea what I was walking into. And I did it again. So thank you very much, all of you. You will be missed. I appreciate the work that you did.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's very much appreciated.
I just wanted on the record that I concur with Cindy. Everybody's worked very hard and many meetings, subcommittee meetings. We all didn't agree, but it was best for the fire district to move forward. It's sad. I'm sad to see Bruce go, because a lot of people don't appreciate the hours that the gentleman has put in to see us move forward. We may not always agree, but I always found Bruce to listen to my concerns. If I saw something I didn't like, I'd call him, and he would be more than willing to listen to me and be willing to accept my opinions. The man worked tirelessly. I could not believe that some mornings that I would get up and check my emails and find, and this was more than I can imagine. I could imagine, and I thought maybe it was just he had a bad night and he was up, but it was common for Bruce to be sending me emails and asking for my opinion, being involved in the fire district for 26 years as chairman of the Cumberland Hill Fire District and seeking opinions. But sending emails out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, the man had the job in his heart. And he wasn't looking for compensation. He wasn't looking for an attaboy. But tonight, and as we leave here tonight, I just want to say, Bruce, you got an attaboy from me.
Means a lot. Thank you.
It was unbelievable. It's the man, I saw some of the work that he did at home on spreadsheets and trying to work on budgets and to lead us in the right direction. The man really, really had his heart and soul in trying to get us to merge 4 districts into one in record speed time for I'm concerned. I wish you well, Bruce, going forward. I'm hoping this couple of days a week we may have coffee. We became friends. Bruce was not a friend of mine. But I never forget 2 years ago on election night when I won, he come over and shook my hand and stated to me that he would be working with the complete board and be open-minded. So thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really appreciate those words. It means a lot to me. Any others before I finish up?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Cucciani.
Look, I totally agree that the board had an inevitable task in front of them in regards to what had to be done for these past 2 years. And there is no doubt that a lot of time and effort by all members were put into this particular project, with multiple issues that had to be looked at. That has never been a disagreement that I have had with this particular board on certain matters. I have disagreed with the methodology that has been used on various occasions and what I think have been important occasions. And I think people have interpreted my comments incorrectly, so I'm trying to make sure that you understand that the methodology that I've questioned and has been multiple times is what I've had trouble with. If the methodology was clearer, more concise, if that information had been passed on, we may still have had differences of opinion, but I think those differences of opinion would have found themselves in a different context. So once again, to all board members, I totally agree that time and effort has been placed by everybody, and that should be well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I would like to first congratulate the new committee and wish them the best. In the past 2 years, this district has been able to complete the task that's only been talked about for decades. It was very much a team effort. All parts were important to the success of this merger. We took 4 budgets totaling about $7.5 million, managed under 4 different accounting systems and/or processes, and were able to present a similar sized budget with a lowered tax rate. And again, this year we were able to lower that tax rate. We took 4 separate collective bargaining agreements and within 6 weeks negotiated the new 1-year contract. Within this contract, we did level the salaries. We would have lost in arbitration had we said we're going to go to the lowest salary. That's from one of the most recognized labor attorneys in the state. And we leveled the salaries. But at the same time, we lowered the cost of the contract. It wasn't much. It's only $17,000. But it was a lower cost. The next contract, the one for 3 years, we were able to continue the CBA improvements for both the district and the men. We were able to reduce the number of administrative employees, and even in this current budget, the business department, under the leadership of Finance Director Carolson, has chosen not to fill a funded part-time position because her and her team felt they didn't need it. We have a business office that is organized and managed by 4 excellent employees, being supported by an outside accounting firm and a payroll company. We have a district that is meeting all specific state regulations over a fire district. I would like to thank Diane, Beth, Pam, and Claudia for their work, not only getting the department together, but over the first tax season this year with quarterly payments. This team has our finances organized and running very efficiently and, above all, accurately. We have a professional fire prevention office staffed by a full-time employee who manages all the scheduling for fire inspections. This office is also responsible for securing successful grant writing. I would like to thank Kerry Smith for a great job bringing the 4 different districts' processes in together, and is now providing a professional service to our town. I didn't realize how much work that was in the fire prevention office. When people think of fire prevention, generally they think of those cute little red helmets and some nice stickers. The job to schedule all the fire inspections throughout the town for real estate transactions and or just yearly inspections is quite a job, and she's doing a great job at it. Our command staff, led by Chief Finley, has established the needed consistency to lead the men. Their training is second to none, and along with their professionalism, has given them an outstanding record in town. To complement this team is best done by saying this. We just opened up an application period, or it's about to close. There's no better compliment that you can get in any industry is to have experienced people willing to give up their seniority at their current company to come join your company. And that's happened 3 times, Chief? 3 applications?
We're up to 6.
We have 6 firemen in the state who feel working for Cumberland Fire is better than where they're at now, giving up their seniority because they're coming over as probation people. True.
Can you imagine that, Jim? Guys coming back. Can you imagine that? Coming back to this department? It shows that we've done a really good job here, a really good job. So regardless of what you think, by me missing votes and not making important comments, maybe when you think I should, people want to be on this job now. People want to be firefighters in this town. And I'm proud to be a former member of this department, but I'm even prouder to be a taxpayer in this town because you know what? When you call the rescue, when you call the fire department, you have 2 of the best services in the state of Rhode Island. You have doctors showing up at your house. You got firemen who are willing to risk theirs to save yours. And they would do it any day of the week. So I applaud this board. I applaud Bruce, the firemen, the men, Chief. Excellent job.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yep. I would like to thank the outside agencies that have assisted over the past 2 years, specifically Tom Bruce, our first finance director, who helped shape the existing business office, and our first solicitor, Kelly Morris, who has guided us through legalities and ensuring the district meets all requirements. She has been a great counselor to me and to the district. I'd like to thank Ed Yazbak and Associates for their initial accounting help, and also to Palmieri, Poria, and Associates for their diligence in completing the first 4 audits, and also thank the State of Rhode Island Department of Revenue and Office of Auditor General for their help and guidance. Lastly, I'd like to thank those on the committee that have worked so hard to ensure the level of success we have achieved. Jim and Phil, I wish you both the best in your upcoming endeavors. Cynthia, I'd like to thank you for your steadfastness and good vision. It has helped keep us on an even keel. We didn't agree on the biggest decision we were made at the start of this merger. And ironically, we didn't agree on a very big decision that we made lastly. Isn't that interesting, huh?
Staying consistent.
But you have never let that stand in your way of what's best for CFD, and we've worked well together. Thank you, and the best to you in your next term, and I'm sure that you will continue to provide the needed leadership. Chris, I'd like to thank you for your heartfelt talks. You have helped me become educated about the life of a firefighter. And you notice I didn't say about a union employee or say about a local member of a local. He taught me about, he helped me understand better of what the life of a firefighter and how we affect that here. My sincere thanks to you on the job, and stay safe out there. Ron, you said it earlier. We weren't friends when we came in here. But I am grateful to you that you have the professionalism and the open mind to sit and discuss issues. We haven't always agreed, but we have become friends. I've got it written down, so I was going to say it too. And that to me is more important. You're a good man. Just one point, he brought it up, and I'm going to finish the story we had the night of election. We were talking a little bit, and it was a little awkward. We weren't friends coming into this, but we knew we had to, get on the same board, and we were kind of poking around, and I didn't know if he knew a particular gentleman. Well, he knew him, Kenny Bonolo, who was a reserve officer on the CPD when Ron was on the department. And I didn't know if he knew that was my father-in-law, and he didn't. And he said to me that, geez, it's your mother that was in Holiday, right? His mother was in the Holiday retirement home in Lincoln. He says, I go see Kenny every day that I go see my mother. And, that says a lot about a person. My father-in-law couldn't speak at the time. He was had a really bad Parkinson's, and he couldn't speak. But I know in his heart he appreciated the former CPD coming to visit him. He loved that department, and that meant a lot to me when he told me that. When I told my family who was visiting, because we didn't know it, because obviously my father-in-law can't talk, so he's not telling us. That meant a lot for my family, Ron. Frank, my goodness. I can't tell you how many times I've been able to simply ask Frank, are we on the right road? Are we doing the right thing, Frank? Your wisdom has been the backbone to the success of this district. When we were going off course, he nudged us. When we were on the right road, he helped energize. I'm glad to have met you, and I look forward to continuing our friendship. To our professional firefighters, and I'm not sure if we have any here tonight. In the back we have some guys. I'm sure that they're going to watch this video. Oh, there's Deputy Chief. You are respected by this community. Remember that and believe that. Be proud of that uniform. There are only 51 people in this town that are qualified to run into a burning building or to extract a hurt person from a smoking car on Route 295. And you're one of them. And I certainly appreciate it and respect it. And despite the vocal minute, this town respects you, and you should believe that and believe in yourself. This district depends on you, and we are in good hands. At this point, I'll open up to any public input before I ask for an adjournment. Is there any public input?
Paul Santoro. This thing on? Who knows? Hello? Hi. Hi. Paul Santoro, 33 Scarborough Road. So I'll be coming in as a new member, and I want to thank Mr. Lemoy for his leadership. I didn't even know who he was until I started watching the videos. I simply texted him on Facebook one night and said, can we meet and talk so I can learn what I'm getting into. He took his personal time, I would say 5 times on a Saturday and a Sunday, for a couple hours to say, read this, read that, watch the videos, learn about it, get back to me, and we'll talk. We didn't even know who we were. We live a block away. I chose not to run against him because of my tremendous respect for Mr. Lemoy and the job he's done for this committee. I call him the glue. He's been the glue through all my video watching, and I watched them all many times. Mr. Lemoy deserves tremendous respect and accolades. He didn't ask for any accolades or respect. That's a true leader. That's the kind of person like Chief Finley that firefighters can respect when they go into a burning building. And Mr. Parent, you know what I mean. 100%. That's very rare these days. We've lost a good leader, a good man, but we have to go forward, and we will. Mr. Lemoy, I thank you personally for your guidance your support and your suggestions, helpfulness throughout this time. And over the last years, you've done the incredible. You brought 4 departments together in record time, got contracts, got fantastic leadership, and we have the best firefighters in the state of Rhode Island. I feel very safe going to bed at night that I know that something burns, they'll be there, and they're the best. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Santor. It means a lot, and I wish you the best in the next 2 years. I'm sure we're going to be served well. Any other public input? Chief Finley.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of myself and the members of the Cumberland Fire Department, I express our deepest gratitude in this board being able to do something that was talked about for 3 decades and getting a solid foundation in place in a simple 24-month period. When you look back at all of the issues that we tackled, all of the projects that moved forward, all of the changes that had happened in the department to make it the operational, exceptional discipline that it is today, it's amazing. You have to sit back and wonder where all the time went to accomplish what you have accomplished. We appreciate it. We appreciate the steadfastness of the board. To Chairman Lamoy, Commissioners Parent, Mater, and Kutsiani, it's sad to see you leaving. We appreciate everything that you have participated in. To Commissioner Ouellette, Champagne, and Commissioner Scullin, we welcome you back to have the forthright and leadership for the incoming board. And Mr. Archambault, Mr. Hogan, Mr. Jones, and Mr. Santoro are here tonight. I hope the next 2 years is as productive as the past 2 have been. Thank you all very much. You should be extremely proud of the product that you put together.
Thank you, Chief. In business, we have different things. We have quality and price and value, and quality and value, they call the equals, and quality is the first amongst equals. And I take every compliment the same, but in that sense, I take the men and the chief's compliments the first amongst equals. And the morale of this department was very shaky, to say the least. They were under extreme uncertainty for years, and you don't have a job like a firefighter and have sketchy morale. Very scary. You need men, and when they walk up to a building and they got to go in, you need them sharp, clear-minded, and secure. And they can't have them thinking about what's going to be happening to the job or to the fire department, or in this, in the vein of what's going to happen to the company. So I appreciate that, Chief. I don't take any of these compliments less, but I definitely take it from the men and you, the first amongst equals, and I thank you. Any other comments? Greg?
Greg Dickomitis, 44 DeSoto Street. What's that? 44 DeSoto Street, District 3. Cindy. I just want to reiterate what everybody else has said tonight. Not only to the chairman, but the board as a whole. I feel you guys have done a tremendous job in the 2 years that you've started. You started a process. I've been to many meetings by myself. I've stood up on this podium and had my comments to just about everybody on this board at one point or another. You have done an exemplary job. Again, Bruce, you held this together. It will go down unbelievably. Commissioner, I know I can never get your name right. Just Kutsiani. Just for the record, tonight is the second time I've agreed with you. There you go. One other point I want to make. This board has done an exemplary job. I challenge the incoming members to carry on the tradition. Dana, I've known you. Mr. Santoro, I look forward to seeing meetings with you and the rest of them. But again, congratulations, you did a bang-up job. As a taxpayer, I say it.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. Any other comments? Mr. Dana Jones.
Thank you all.
You gotta state your name and address for the record.
Dana Jones, 282 Scott Road. And I'd also like to thank your board. From the outside looking in, you had real tasks bringing the 4 districts together. And I hope that I can call upon the outgoing members for council. I'm not a political person, so when I ran, it wasn't against Mr. Cucciani, it was just for the board. And I hope I can call upon him for counsel or opinion. I will not let the outgoing members down, because the ball's really rolling now. As far as I'm concerned, you did the hard work. Now we just build. Chief, thank you, and the support staff and the commanding officers of the department, right down to the privates. I took this on with good intent, so I will not let any of you down. So thank you. And thank you, Bruce, for your guidance on the other end of things. Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. It means a lot. Dana comes to the board with, well, Ron's got a bit more experience than him, but a lot of experience, not only in fire, but also in rescue, being the first rescue director for the town of Cumberland. And he's going to do a great job. Any other comments? Hearing none. Motion by Commissioner Champagne to adjourn, seconded by Commissioner Mata. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, folks. Have a good night.